Okay, I hope you can hear me. Test 1, 2. Anyway, today we're doing some drawing. We're going to get some drawing exercises happening to get your wrists and fingers all moving, as well as getting to know the quality of the graphite that you're using. And yeah, so without any further ado, let's get started. So we've got paper, and I've also got some pencils. Today for this activity you probably just need a 2B or a B, like this. I'm just going to use a B. And I'll put them there for now. Okay, so what we want to do is just get to know the feel of the pencil. If you're an absolute beginner, because most of us have held a pencil before, I dare say. Okay, so what we want to do is start with some drawing exercise just to get our wrists and everything moving. So what I want you to do is stand. What I want you to do, hi. I'm still getting the hang of it, all right? What I want you to do is stand up, and we're going to draw with our full arm out extended, okay? And I also want you to hold your pencil like this, not like this. For this exercise, it's like this, okay? So let's go back to our page, and what I want you to do is stand up, so you can see the angle of my hand has changed, and I want you to just do a shape like that, but try and replicate it. So I'm starting from one point, and I'm replicating it over and over again. You can see that your graphite is becoming a little bit blunt. Focus there. But we keep going. Now what you might notice by now is that the line is changing depending on the pressure that you put on your pencil. So right up this area, the lines are quite, they start and they stop at a particular point. Whereas here, you get a lot more flick in your wrist, and you get that lovely soft tapering off of the graphite into sort of the width of the arc that we're drawing. Keep going, and I'm going to have to sharpen my pencil. Okay, so you just keep going, and there we go. You can see that if you use your whole arm, you're going to get a lot more action. Alright, so let's try another one, a different movement. We'll try something like this. Again, holding your pencil like that, starting at the same point. Now, it might feel like you're, whoops, it might seem like you're just scribbling, but what you're doing is you're developing your sensitivity in your hand of how heavy to push on the pencil and how to get that graphite. So the other thing that we need to talk about is that drawing, I'll just sit down and talk to you. Drawing is about laying down graphite, layers of graphite. And with what we've got here, we're laying it down in a linear way over and over again, but there are lots of different ways that you can lay the graphite down, which we'll discover a little bit later. So drawing is a process of graphite, application, addition, and then subtraction with hopefully you've got an eraser, because we're going to use that later. All right, new page, and get another pencil. Now this time we're going to do a big one. Actually no, this time we're going to use our left hand. If you're a righty, use your opposite hand. Okay. Now this feels really weird, but it's always about, as I said before, just working on getting to know your pencils. Keep going. I want to hear something really funny. Just the second I was ready to start this live, I had the window open and it was all very serene, and then the man next door turned on his compressor. so I've had to shut the window. It's a lovely warm day here in Queensland. When I draw, I really like to see a lot of graphite. Okay, let's have a look at that. So you can see we're getting some lovely detail here in the, let's see if I can zoom in for you. That's better. So we've got a nice sort of variations of dark and light here. And if, well, my pencil's needs another sharpener, always handy to have, good practice to have a sharpener nearby. So we'll keep going, lefty again. And perhaps, you know, because my left hand is less coordinated, I'm probably getting a heavier look to my graphite sections. But again, you can see that I'm using my whole arm, and that's pretty important. Okay, so now we've got lots of graphite down, and it's sort of looking, you can see that this section here is looking very different, these marks, and then we get the soft, almost grass-like quality over here. So drawing is essentially making marks, and the kind of marks you make determine the look of the drawing and determine obviously the texture. Drawing is about creating texture too. So how you create that texture whether you're stippling or scribbling or whatever you're doing, that will determine the surface of the object that you want to create. So now that I've warmed up left and right hands, I'm going to use this drawing. I'm going to use this drawing a bit later, but for now we want to get a little bit closer. So now we can use our pencil holder the traditional way, although if you want to, you can hold it the other way. This way is for roughing and for working quickly. This method of holding a pencil is more for detail. So actually, I've changed my mind. I think what we'll do is we'll stay with our artist grip, and we're going to lay down. We're going to see what kind of textures we can make. So divide your page into 4, and the first texture I'm going to try and make is scribbles. So I'll try and see again. So all I'm doing is just holding my pencil, and I'm going to try and keep an even pressure and just layer the graphite over the top. So an even pressure, and I'm keeping the tip of the pencil, the graphite tip, on the surface the whole time. So unlike the last drawing exercise where we're lifting it off, this time we're laying it down, we're leaving it on the paper. So I'm just going to do this scribbly blob, and I know might feel a bit silly to start with, but it's all part of developing your repertoire of drawing surface texture abilities, drawing abilities. Okay, so we're getting somewhere with this, and I hope that yours is going well, whether you're doing this with me or live, or if you are watching this video at another time, that's fine too. Hi to Jane in the States, and all my friends from around the world who've joined in this group. I'm very excited to see that you've accepted my invitation. So awesome. I'm really excited. So what we've got there is a scribble block. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in for you. This is doing everything in reverse. Okay, so we've got a scribble block. You can see here I've done a little bit heavier than I wanted, but the rest of it's sort of fairly uniform. And so that's one way of laying down graphite. Okay, what's another way? We're going to do cross hatching now, and I'll change my grip because it's a much finer. Same shape. I'm going to, now you might have seen cross hatching done before. It's a very old technique. It's actually the technique that's come from, well, I mean, probably one of the very first techniques from medieval artworks. The main one that comes to mind is etching. The first form of printing was drawing into sheets, metal sheets, with a very sharp utensil to create these scratch marks, and then the ink is rolled over it, and then it's pressed onto paper, so you get the dark tone. So okay, so you can see that I've gone this way, sorry. I've gone this way, and yeah, I think that's all. So I'm just again trying to keep okay. So a much more uniform surface compared with the scribbly technique here. This one is a very common technique used in architectural drawing as well, to get that dark, tone for shadows and whatnot, parts of buildings. So the more you lay down, the less little bits of white shine through, and then you get your dark tone. Alright, so we've done 2. We're going to move the page, and I'm going to start here. Now, our third way is going to be stippling. So I'm going to, this one takes a long time, so bear with me. So as we're, and I hope you're doing this too, you're not just watching me. I don't know why I'm getting out of focus here. I'm kind of stabbing and dragging, or sort of ticking the pencil. And the reason why I'm holding the pencil like this is because it would hurt after a while. And try and keep it uniform. And as we're drawing, as we're making our marks, you can try and imagine what kind of texture this application would be good for. It doesn't necessarily have to be something spiky, or obviously grass or something comes to mind, because it's sort of, I'm flicking it, it's kind of straight, so I don't know, it could be anything really, but just I'm getting, you can see the difference between here and here. I'm getting bored. So now I'm evening up. And of course, what you could also do with this type of mark making is you could change directions, like we did before. But I want to just show you how this looks. Lately I've been drawing Banksias, and if you're familiar with the Australian Banksia flower, follicles they're called actually, there's a lot of spikes and things in them. They're extremely detailed, so this kind of technique was helpful for me in drawing those things. So there we go, we've got more graphite laid down. Just pop out. So now we've got our three different techniques. So let me see if I can think of another one. Another kind of different one, a kind of abstract way, is to do, I'm going to say 4 marks one way, and try and keep the white as even as possible in between them. And I'm just changing direction kind of randomly. And keeping the length of the line even. As possible. But I'm also trying to fill it in, fit, a sort of a space, so sometimes I have to change. But essentially it's all four lines all together. And the main thing is that we're not intersecting the lines. Like in our cross-hatching, we're getting tonal variations in a different way. Okay, so that'll do that for now. So again, you can see we've got 4 different applications. We've got our scribbles here, more of an organic surface. We've got our cross-hatching here, more of a man-made surface, I guess, if you like. And we've got another sort of more organic, random stabs, sorry. And then we've got this very organised kind of parquetry, if you like, if you're from the 80s. Remember the parquetry? Remember parquetry flooring? Yeah, it's pretty gross now, but anyway. Okay, so let's go back. Now we've got all these different ways. Now there are lots of other ways that you can apply your graphite, which I want you to play with and have some fun. So, think of any way. So I'm going to even do circles. Let's zoom you in. I can't get this camera going. So again, you decide on a process and you don't change it. So I'm just doing little tiny circles all around the same size, and I'm just putting them side by side. Okay, so we're making marks, we're making textures. this course, or this drawing tips that I'm that I am giving you is skills, to develop skills that you will be able to improve your drawing, hopefully, but you'll have a better understanding and appreciation of the process of drawing, and hopefully it'll give you the confidence to be able to tackle some different topics and subjects of things that you may not have ever thought that you could draw. But we're in the early days yet. Okay, so I'm not going to do any more on that, but again, you can see that that's a whole other texture. It might be bark or something like that, or some kind of organic form. I'm thinking of sea creatures and barnacles and things. So yeah, so there it goes. So most of us sort of think of drawing as using the pencil to go from light to dark, but there are other ways to achieve that as well, as we've just seen. But so let's get to the traditional method of going from light to dark. So what I want you to do on your page now is to just draw a little rectangle, like maybe 4 or 5 centimeters long, and my pencil is a HB. I did say to use a 2B, so we'll start with 2B. 2B or not 2B? You'll have to put up with the jokes, I'm sorry. Okay. So what we're going to do is do a tonal development from dark to light. So this is a really important skill development. Now the other thing that you need to have, well, you will have to have in the future, is some spare paper. Right now this is all clean, so, and my hand is clean, but if there was other parts of the drawing down here, we would have to lay some paper over that to stop smudging, but right now we don't have to worry. So we'll just get a close up of that, and so I'm going to start at the darkest and then move up to the light. So this, I'm using the standard grip because I need to control the shape where I'm going. So you can see that I've gone to as dark as I can get, and hopefully you are too. You're going as dark as you can get. Now, one way you can do is you can just keep drawing and reducing the pressure until you get up to here. Another way you can do is maybe go midway and lighten up your grip, the pressure. So up here should be almost imperceptible. But let's just keep going this way. So I've got to get from this tone to that tone hopefully in a fluid gradient. So I'm going out. It doesn't matter if you don't stay in the lines, that's fine. In fact, I prefer it if you don't. And going back over the drawing, back and forth, and you can see when I turn the pencil around and I touch, I get these sort of little darker than the rest marks, so you just need to be aware of that. Now looking at that, there's not enough difference between there and there. This is all pretty similar, isn't it? So I'm going to bring up the dark sometimes your pencil might feel a little, the graphite might feel a little scratchy, and that's just for, there are little impurities in the graphite from time to time, or air bubbles that kind of get in there somehow. So yeah, you just have to sort of roll it around. Sometimes it's okay to just sort of go, you know, scribble over here to just to get it more even, get the feel that you like. And going back, and now I need to really lighten off. And really lighten off. And let's talk about hardness then while we're drawing. Yeah, this is a 2B, as we've said, which means it's the second softest pencil in our range. Most pencils go from, okay, so B is soft and H is hard. Soft is dark and hard is light. Oh. So how are we going? We step back, we have a look. Is there an even gradient going from dark to light? Nope. I'm going to bring this up a bit more. One of the biggest things to develop when you're learning to draw is your levels of patience, and the time that you are willing to spend. Drawing is a very time-consuming activity, and unless you're prepared to hang in there with them, yeah, maybe drawing's not going to be for you. But there we go. I think that's pretty good now. So you can see, if I go beyond the edge of my box, you basically, you can hardly see, and I'm going much lighter. So hopefully you've noticed the difference in the pressure that you had to apply from here, from the dark side to the light side. And that's a really good skill. So if you even if you just do this activity over and over again, to develop your pressure skills, that's really helpful. So now we've done different ways of making marks, and we've done our traditional laying down a smooth surface of graphite. This method can be used for obviously any surface. It's devoid of texture, so what we can do is pretty much turn it into anything like glass, smooth, surfaces like chrome.
That's where we'll finish that session today. I really hope you enjoyed it and hope that you learnt something new about making marks. This episode was really just about getting to know the graphite and getting to know the pressure that you need to apply to achieve different effects. So if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, and if not, don't. That's okay. But I hope to see you again in the next video. So until then, do your practice, do your homework, and stay well and safe, my friends. Bye bye for now.